How's it going? Today is 21st of March, Thursday, and we are taking a look at the market, what kind of opportunities are available there. In this video, let's take a look at what's happening with BBC and its future funding. That will be expert panel appointed advisor on the BBC future funding. So we had a panel during which we were taking a look at the current operational cost, where perhaps previously to write a script, to produce all the content, everything they used to had perhaps massive operational costs, and as of now, perhaps they have. If you would ask me, perhaps too many buildings and too many city centers, and so I say, which as of now being subsidized by the government. Let's take a look at if it's been noted within this expert panel. And if they're gonna be looking to reduce how much is operational cost of I don't know if it's important. Perhaps someone can disagree or agree that the UK as a whole they should have broadcasting services narrative. Official statement made by the government. People can argue. I would argue about how much we should pay for that. That's my argument. Only other than that, the people do get whatever they want, right? Uh, Nine leading industry experts have been selected to provide independent advice on expertise to the government part of the BBC funding review, right? As recently, BBC had received a lot of pushback the way how information was presented and reported, right? And government would be appointing government to audit themselves, which is a waste of everyone's time. Basically, what kind of information you would like to be pushed upon you, and how much you're looking to pay for that, for these kind of services. Let's take a look at those nine experts and some of the findings that they have received. The entire article is very long, but it might be very important, right? Since information and quality information, and if some of those organizations is not performing to some people raising concerns, if not if not performing up to the standard, perhaps they should be penalized financially. If you would ask me, so how else would you subsidize this kind of service? It makes no sense. I don't know if I need to argue more some of those points, but either way, the panel will help evaluate the current funding model and assess alternative funding options. Okay. I would prefer if it not be subsidized. That's it. They can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter. In my opinion, it doesn't matter. Other than if it's my money, as of now, I hope it won't be my money anymore. That's it. It's the only thing we're looking to accomplish here. Funding review is looking at ways of securing BBC's long-term sustainability while reducing the burden on license fee payers. But it's not necessarily this very small percentage. Is more likely it's coming from there. But either way, let's delve deeper, I guess. A panel of leading experts have been invited to Culture Secretary to provide independent advice on expertise as a part of the government-led review looking into future funding models for BBC. The panel includes figures from across the broadcasting and or media sectors, including there's the names there. I don't know. It's worth more than likely. I don't know these people, by the way. Perhaps it's great people, right? Let's progress. I don't want to take shots at people. Perhaps they're doing their best, right? As set out in the terms of the reference published today, the panel assessed the sustainability of the BBC current license fees model, examine alternative options for funding the national broadcasters. It will provide expert advice at DCMS, Minister of Issues surrounding future funding models, which include identifying the challenges facing the current license fee and or evaluating other options to supporting BBC service long term. The panel will also explore new ways of the broadcaster to increase commercial income and how it could transition to any potential new funding model. No one is talking about reducing it. they talking about where the money will be coming from, the operational cost, and how it's been reduced by some alternative ways how they can produce some of the material. So cost with new technologies, it's been dramatically reduced, right? And they still operating at the same cost. Why are they still operating at the same cost? Well, no one is talking about reducing that cost. So it's waste of time again. It's wasting everyone's time because all these services should be a lot cheaper, and now we're looking to source exactly the same amount of money, if not more. So wasting everyone's time, and now we're putting those 9 people. Why do you do it? The panelists were selected in consultation with the industry based on their experience and knowledge. Okay. It's great, right? So they're putting these now. So they're not even able to advise based on operational cost. If can they advise on that, that's really great. Because otherwise we would make an argument about completely different thing, about where to raise funds, not to that they should operate with less funds in the first place. The panel will also look at how funding agreements applied for BC War. Okay, so there are different services. Perhaps as of now, perhaps organization is massive. Minority language podcast. So perhaps they're gonna be taking some of those funds from places like Wales, Scotland, which is great. Take some of the funds from there if they can, so the broadcasters can continue to provide quality news for domestic and global audience, which is great. Misconstructing the argument, presenting this argument, and asking 9 people assess organization based on misconstructed argument, which should be entire costs. It's not only BBC Rails. They had reviewed the entire strategy of the Rails and how overpriced rail services are as of now, and they're not even looking at reducing some of the costs. They're not even looking at that, and they're not even looking at now at BBC and how we can reduce costs. We're looking to operate at the same or even higher cost, which I don't know. For as long as people are happy. Not my. I hope it's not my money there. It's it. And the financial decisions related to BBC funding model will be for the government to make the next charter review after this into consideration. Expert panel insights, guidelines, or evidence provided public will be consulted as part of the. There's my consultation with the. If I can, I would offer so much feedback. But I think it would evaluation criteria for public consultation perhaps would be 10%, perhaps less than that, 5%. For misconstructed argument in the first place, but either way. The expert panel is one aspect of the government's BBC funding model. Review which also includes separate research program and further engagement with the stakeholders. Quick one, right? I have shared that previously. It instead of having monopoly, which not necessarily offers anything for general public other than the government control of the narrative, right? Let's break this model in the first place. That's the feedback. Break this model. Offer 10 entrepreneurs opportunities of developing better services. 10 people. They would develop way better for way less. That makes sense. So cost, we would be able to reduce the entire cost, because this entrepreneurs won't gonna own those properties as much as BBC does right now. We're already reducing costs, right? As well as we would be able to improve the quality of the services and see something actually interesting when it comes to watching some of this news. I never watched it unless I don't know. I would pick up on things that people up there would understand what they talk about when it comes to even presenting some of the data. The people would need to understand in order to produce such a high quality material, even presenting perhaps housing crisis, all this kind of thing. So people would be very knowledgeable, but they would have a bites, right? So that would be 20 seconds to show and or try to explain everything within 30 seconds or so. So people sometimes they would hire best people. Well, that's not a question here. Sometimes what they would on purpose perhaps even only give them 30 seconds. Where this model would break, that means that this is the parts that we should be able to address within 10 people. They can look at the entire sector and improving services for all, if you would ask me, right? So that's about our names, right, of the people know who gonna be taking part, right? So I would, if we would ask me, I would break entire thing, and I would offer each of these 9 people a part how we can produce better content. That's it. I have just solved this problem. So instead of having monopoly on the narrative of the government, perhaps that's what government is looking to achieve with taxpayers' money. Let's give opportunities for these 9 people to produce their own content and for people to judge what content is good and what's not. Thanks for watching. See you next one.